It's easy to think that every cat loves her tutor simply because she lives with him. But what if it's not well? What if your cat, despite eating, sleeping, and even playing in your presence, doesn't really feel the same attachment you feel for him? This may be uncomfortable listening, but it is important to know. Cats are complex beings, full of language codes that are rarely obvious, and many of these signs go unnoticed. Today, we'll show you 2 initial behaviors that can reveal a difficult truth. Maybe your cat doesn't see you with so much affection as you might think. This video is not to cause guilt. It is to help you better understand what your cat is trying to say in silence, and more importantly, what to do to change it. Sign 1, the look that never happens. In the feline world, the eyes are connection tools. Cats who feel comfortable with you look at you. They face, blink slowly, sustain their eyes with peace of mind. This eye contact is a form of demonstration of trust, a kind of non-touch hug, where they say, "I feel safe with you." But when the opposite happens, the signal is clear. If your cat avoids your eyes often, look away quickly, or even get out of the room when you try to interact, it is not just shyness. It can be distrust, or even a slight discomfort with your presence. Studies show that the so-called slow blink, when the cat closes his eyes slowly as he stares at you, is one of the most affectionate gestures they can do. It is the equivalent of a kiss or hug, in feline terms. Therefore, if you try to repay this gesture and get no return or worse, gets away, there is something wrong. Cats do not pretend. When they don't trust, they make it clear. The absence of eye contact may be an indication that the emotional bond has not yet been built or broken. If these signs are making sense here, subscribe to the channel right now. Understanding your cat's behavior is the first step in creating a real and healthier relationship with it. Signal 2. The tail speaks when the mouth is silent. A cat's tail is more than an appendix. It is an instrument of language. Unlike dogs, which shake the tail to express joy, cats use specific movements to demonstrate emotional states, and they are not always positive. A raised tail with a slightly curved tip indicates tranquility and curiosity, but when the tail moves quickly, abruptly, or with small constant shaking, it is a warning. And this alert often has a single recipient: you. If your cat has a hectic tail as you approach, or while you are close to you, it may be annoyed, suspicious, or even bothered by your presence. This kind of behavior is especially worrying when it happens at times when you try to affection, physical approach, or games. In nature, this tail movement signals that the cat is in a state of tension. It may be because you feel that there is a threat, uncomfortable, or simply because you want space. Ignoring this sign and force contact can make the situation worse. It is also important to differentiate the feline from the soft, relaxed swing that occurs when the cat is comfortable, observing something with interest. The problem is in repetitive, sudden, intense movement. When this becomes recurring, especially in your presence, the message is straightforward. It is not comfortable. And where there is no comfort, there is hardly affection. Not all gestures of a cat are silent by nature. Some are almost shouting, but still a lot of people do not hear. The tail, for example, may seem just an instinctive movement, but in fact it is an emotional antenna. And what she expresses can say a lot about how your cat feels, especially when it comes to you. Cats do not shake the tail of joy like dogs. Instead, they use tail movements to express tension, discomfort, expectation, or frustration. If you watch your cat shaking your tail quickly when you are awake, alert, and keep an eye on everything around, no, it's not exactly happy. This flicking, name given by subtle and repetitive tail, may indicate a state of irritation or fear. The movement can occur while he observes something very carefully during the simulated hunt, or even when he is trying to process a stimulus that bothered him. The problem is not the movement itself, but the context. If it begins to shake the tail every time you approach, try affection, or enters the environment where it is, the signal is given. Your presence is not relaxing. On the other hand, gentle, almost imperceptible movements, with the tail oscillating sideways to side slowly, usually indicates comfort. But if the movement is tense, fast, and continuous, his body is saying what the mouth will not say: not now, not here, not with you. This discrete language becomes even more evident when associated with other behaviors that often arise in emotionally disconnected cats from their tutors. Sign 3. Out-of-control scratches. When stress becomes silent destruction. Scratching is natural for every cat. It's not a whim, no tantrum. It is an instinctive behavior that serves to sharpen the claws, mark territory with pheromones released by the paws, and release accumulated energy. But when the act of scratching goes beyond the common, when it becomes an obsession, there is something more behind it. If you realize that your cat is scratching objects more often than usual, several times a day, with increasing intensity, or in places he had never touched, this can be a direct reflection of anxiety. And the cause of this tension is often associated with a sense of threat within its own territory. Cats are ritual creatures. Simple changes in the environment, such as the arrival of another animal, a reorganization in furniture, constant noises or frequent visits, can destabilize them. In some cases, the origin of discomfort may be even closer. When the tutor becomes unpredictable, he insists on forcing physical contact or changes the animal's routine. The feline begins to act defensive, and scratching compulsively becomes a mechanism of emotional regulation. In addition, excess scratches can be a physical reflection of an even more invisible problem: dermatological problems, allergies, or chronic pain. Therefore, it is essential to observe whether this behavior comes with signs such as hair loss, reddish skin, or wounds. If you identify a sudden change in this standard, don't ignore it. It may be that the cat is trying to say, "I'm not well," and this environment is not either. Avoid screaming, scolding, or trying to prevent this behavior to force. This will only reinforce the tension. Instead, ask yourself, did something change in his routine? Is there tension in the house? Are you trying too much affection at wrong times? Sometimes excessive presence can be as invasive as absence. Offer alternatives: scratching post in strategic places, soothing sprays, or simply more predictability and routine. But above all, offer respect for his space. Among the most neglected behaviors by tutors is the irregular use of the sandbox. After all, cats are known for their obsession with cleaning and preferred well-defined environments for their needs. Therefore, when this pattern is broken, the alert should sound. Sign 4. The sandbox is no longer a safe place. If your cat has avoided the sandbox, doing his needs at random places of the house, do not interpret as stubbornness or revenge. This does not exist in the feline world. This behavior may be saying something much more serious. It is not comfortable. Cats are extremely sensitive to the environment. Small changes, such as changing of furniture, the arrival of a new person in the house, or even a different smell in the air, can generate discomfort. And this discomfort often manifests itself quietly, but visible, for the refusal to use the box. In a study published in a renowned feline journal of medicine, a direct connection was identified between behavioral changes with the sandbox and high stress levels. More anxious, insecure, or not emotionally welcomed cats show greater propensity for inadequate urination, out of box defecation, or even retention. If your cat started acting like this just after you changed something at home, or even your routine with him, stop and observe. It may be that the problem is not the box itself, but the security relationship that was broken. Other physical causes should also be considered. Urinary infections, joint pain, or digestive problems can also trigger this behavior. Therefore, the first attitude must be a visit to the vet to discard any clinical factor. But if everything is right in health, maybe it's time to look inside, to the environment, and for the way you have been related to your cat in the last days. Offer more boxes, especially in homes with more than one cat. Keeping them always clean and positioned in silent and affordable places are basic measures. But the most important thing is to return to your cat what he may be missing: confidence. Sign 5. Excessive hygiene, when care becomes escape. Another common and often ignored behavior is the act of licking itself exaggeratedly. Cats, by nature, spend much of the day cleaning themselves. But when this goes from the limit, when flaws appear in the hair, redness, or skin irritation, the sign, of course, there is something wrong. Compulsive licking can be a relief mechanism, an attempt to control in the face of an environment that the cat considers unpredictable or threatening. He is stressed and does not know what to do with it. So channel this tension to the only place he can control: his own body. Home changes, excess noise, presence of other animals, or changes in their feeding and rest routine are common triggers. In some cases, This intense hygiene arises after frustrated attempts to receive affection, when he feels that he is not being understood or respected within his limits. The attentive tutor needs to recognize excessive cleaning is not vanity. It is a request for help. If you observe this behavior, look for physical signs. Wounds, crusts, hair loss, or localized licking areas may indicate something more serious, such as allergies, dermatitis, or parasites. In these situations, the first action should also be a veterinary assessment. However, if no physical cause is identified, turn your eyes to the emotional. Reflect on the environment you are offering. Is there enough stimulus? Is there respect for his space? Have you forced interactions in the wrong moments? Cats need space as much as affection. When this balance breaks, the body begins to scream. And the most common way to scream, it's silent. Cats don't scream when something is wrong. They shut up, retract, disappear for hours in corners of the house that before they didn't even go. This type of behavior may seem normal to those who are used to feline independence, but it is not. When isolation becomes constant, it is a cry for help disguised as silence. Sign 6. The hiding place has become permanent. Cats like reserved spaces. Yes, it is from their nature to look for burrows, boxes, and cozy corners where they feel protected. But there is a difference between enjoying a shelter and using this shelter as an escape. If your cat used to circulate freely around the house and suddenly spends hours hidden under the bed, inside the closet, or behind furniture, this is a signal. He may be feeling threatened, uncomfortable, or even in pain. This behavior has wild roots. In nature, an animal that demonstrates weakness or disease becomes easy target for predators. Therefore, many cats still keep this instinct to hide when they are not well. And even in a domestic environment where there are no real predators, the impulse remains. In addition to physical diseases, anxiety can also be the cause. Recent changes, such as the arrival of another animal, home change, intense noises, or an emotionally unstable tutor, can turn the environment into an uncomfortable place for the cat. And when he cannot control the outside, he hides to try to protect himself internally. To understand if this isolation has an emotional or physical background, observe the other signs. Did he also lose his appetite? Did you stop using the sandbox correctly? Did you reduce personal hygiene? Is it more aggressive or completely apathetic? If the answer is yes to more than one of these points, it is time to take you to the vet. As discreet as it may be, your cat's behavior always speaks. Just know how to listen to the silence. Sign 7. The ignored touch. When affection is not welcome, we all know that cats are not like dogs. They do not run toward us asking for hugs or follow us around the house with their tail shaking. They have their own language. Sometimes subtle, sometimes confused. But when a cat who once accepted affection now rejects her touch repeatedly, it must be taken seriously. It can start lightly. It deflects the body, moves away slowly, avoids the look. Over time, this behavior can evolve into an immediate retreat whenever you try to touch it, or even to growl, snorted, or defensive bites. This may be happening for several reasons. Perhaps he is not feeling well physically. Inner pain, inflammation, fatigue, or sensitivity in some area of the body. Or maybe he is emotionally disconnected from you. Something in your presence is no longer a source of security and has become a warning trigger. Forcing affection in these situations is a common mistake. The more you insist, the more it moves away. Cats are sensitive to intention and moment. When they feel they have no choice, they close even more. The recommendation? Give space. Create opportunities. But don't press. Allow him to come back on his own will. Use toys, snacks, or simply the respectful presence as a bridge to regain contact. If, even with time and patience, behavior does not change, consider evaluating the environment as a whole. The cat may not be rejecting you. He may be reacting to what is around you. Sometimes your cat is not running away from you. He's just trying to deal with something you haven't realized yet. Cats are creatures that value space, predictability, security. And when any of these things are disturbed, they react. Not with words nor shouts, but with actions that seem distant, cold, or even painful for those who observe with an open heart. But here's something that many forget. It's not because a cat is acting in a rounding way that he stopped liking you. Perhaps he is not in the mood for proximity. Perhaps he is undergoing physical discomfort that prevents him from accepting touches. Or maybe the surrounding environment, the one you share with it, has become noisy, unstable, unpredictable. And for a cat, this is enough to activate all your defense instincts. Cats are experts in masking what they feel, not for malice, but for survival. They do not know how to ask for help. They only know how to move away, to hide, biting when they are vulnerable. Avoid contact when they are scared. This means that if your cat does not respond to affection as before, guilt may not be yours directly, but you are part of the scenario. And this is where true transformation begins, because it is not just about interpreting signals, it is about acting on what has been discovered. You asked yourself, doesn't he like me anymore? And the honest answer is, maybe he's so overwhelmed that he can't show how much he likes. The good news? This can change. Cats are resilient, and when the environment becomes predictable, quiet, and respectful, they come back. Maybe slowly, maybe with distrust at first, but come back. The key is not to force interactions, not insist on demonstrations of affection when it is resistant. Give space. Offer opportunities. Be present without invading. If he avoids you, don't run after. Become visible. Read a book in the same room. Let him see that you are there, and that it does not represent threat. If he hides, do not remove him from the hiding place. Turn the environment around into a place of peace. Gradually, you will become part of this peace. And when he returns, even for seconds, even with a brief look or a touch of nose, celebrate that. Not as an achievement, but as a sign of reconstruction. In the end, your cat's behavior is telling you everything. Just listen with attention and humility. The invisible root of feline stress. Cats don't need much to feel overwhelmed. A new smell, an unexpected visit, an out-of-place furniture, the constant noise of the street, or even a tense energy inside the house is enough to shoot alert signs in their brain. You may be living normally, but for him, everything became chaos. Contrary to popular belief, feline stress is rarely caused by something grand. The problem is in the sum of small noise, changes, and silent invasions that the tutor does not even notice. For example, a new cleaning product with strong odor, change in feed times, music at high volume during the day, lack of clear routines, frequent discussions in the family environment, lack of high or safe places for observation. Each of these changes takes a piece of security that the cat has built over time, and since he can't verbalize dissatisfaction, he simply changes his behavior. It gets farther away. Arisco. Invisible. If you realize that your cat's emotional removal began after any of these situations, go back to the point of origin. Sometimes the root of the problem is where you least imagine. What cats expect from us, even without asking. Many believe that cats do not need our attention, which are independent, cold, distant beings. This is a mistake. Cats are independent, yes, but they are extremely loyal to those in whom they trust. The difference is that they do not ask for this loyalty. They wait. The cat doesn't want a tutor who carries him in his lap all the time. He wants someone who respects his language, understand his breaks, and know how to offer affection without forcing contact. If he walks away, it is not a game. It is a sign. If he disappears for hours, it is not a disdain. It is a defense. If he looks and deflects, it is not contempt. It's an invitation for you to try again. Otherwise, the most common error? Force interactions because he needs to get used to it. Cats do not get used to what hurts them. They move away. And if you insist, the message is clear. You don't understand me. I need to protect myself from you. The good news? They also recognize when there is change. When the tutor slows down, watches more, and invades the cat notes and responds. Maybe not with licks, maybe not with lap, but with presence. And for a cat, being by your side in silence, it's love. Reconstructing confidence. Concrete steps. If you realize that the bond has been broken, don't give up. Cats are suspicious but not grudge. They get closer when the environment changes, and when the intention changes with it. Here are some real steps to rebuild the emotional link with your cat. 1. Create predictability. Set fixed times for food, joke, and silence. Cats calm down when they know what to expect. 2. Respect the physical limits. Do not try to take it on your lap. Let him come, even if it's just to sit in the same room. 3. Use his language. Avoid fixed looks. Prefer the blink slow. Soft movements. Low voice. Silence when necessary. 4. Give options, no impositions. Offer boxes, burrows, high shelves. Let him choose where to stay. This returns the control to him. 5. Strengthen with positive associations. When he approaches, reward with a snack or toy. Associate your presence with something good, but don't depend on it. 6. Decrease noise from the environment. Turn off the excess. Sound, movements, stimuli. Decrease the agitation and see how it opens. 7. Remain present, even if ignored. Read a book in the same room. Work in silence near him. Show that you are there and you are safe. 8. Observe the small signs. An ear turned to you. A slow step toward you. A distant purr. All of this is communication. Reconquer a cat does not happen in a week. It can take months. But when he chooses you again, it is because you have become reliable again, and this confidence, once restored, is worth more than any forced affection. If you have gotten here, it is because it really cares about the well-being of your cat. Consider subscribing to the channel to keep up with other content that helps you better understand the silent world and full of meanings of felines. They may not say with words, but they demonstrate with the body, the look, the gestures, and the silence. And when the atmosphere becomes favorable, until the closed cat refuses again. Thank you for watching, and for caring enough to try to see what many ignore.